And welcome to It's Another Coffee Time with Andrew. This is episode 84. And now on to the main event. As you know, I mentioned really want to do public speaking, and I'm putting some effort into it. So I am looking to develop a system for public speaking. And not just a system where you practice and then go out and do a presentation, because that's something I am quite sure I can do. But I want a system where somebody says, can you come out this afternoon and do a talk on this? And I go, sure, I'll be there. That's the system I'm looking for. So over the last 9 days or so, 10 days, I've been working on I've been experimenting. So I've done a lot of practice presentation, a lot of different ways. I spent a lot of time doing this and trying different things. And then I was working on an experiment to increase cognitive load while I was doing my presentation. That was interesting. It may lead me into a totally different direction than I'd planned. So I'm always experimenting. But one of the things that I realized during all this practice, I've done this presentation, the one I'm working on, maybe 15 times, 16 times in the last 9 days. But I noticed there's too much variation. And again, Deming, that was one of his things. You want to have the behavior within statistical control, and you want to try to keep the variation down to some extent. So, and then continuous improvement. So, what was my solution to that? Well, I've done video. I've gone to plays. I thought, what I need is a storyboard. So I went into what is a PowerPoint. I thought that's a great way to do a storyboard. Did a storyboard last couple of days. Takes a lot longer to do a PowerPoint presentation than I thought. And it worked out okay, except I didn't like it as well. It was a little bit too much control. So too much control, and it did keep me on time though. So that's a good thing. I'm thinking that if I need to do a presentation and there's a very strict time limit, that might be a good way to start until I get a little more experience. And the other thing with the storyboard, you've been to a theater, I'm sure, and to see a play. Oh, the choreographing is incredible. It's a beautiful thing to watch. The actor goes to their mark. Everybody goes to their mark. It's perfect. The lights go down. The stage crew goes out there to change the set. Everything is choreographed so nicely. Everything's put right in its place. That's sort of what I was thinking of doing. And then last night, I like to get to bed early. 9 o'clock is my preferred time to get to bed. So last night, I start watching some videos. I don't remember the guy's name, but he's pretty darn good. And he's talking about how you want to have a little variation in your presentation. So you can use the same stories, but you don't want it choreographed so precisely that it looks like you've done it 100 times before. So that got me thinking. I've watched these until 1 o'clock in the morning. So I did not get much sleep last night and slept in, which is unusual for me as well. I wake up, the sun is already up. So, today is the first day, getting up that late. Today is the first day, and I don't know how long that I have not worked on my book. I feel kind of bad. You know, when you're used to working on something and you're in the habit and you don't do it, you feel a little off. But today I started implementing that system, this guy's system. And it's interesting. I think that I'm going to give it a try, give it a shot, and see what happens. In fact, to do this, I outlined it using his system. And now we all know, any of us that do working dogs, any of us who have experience doing obedience trials, protection dog trials especially, real working dogs like police street dogs. Actually, my cousin posted today, it's National Law Enforcement Day. So I've done a lot of work with police departments when I was younger. In fact, when I was younger, that is the main thing I wanted to do. I didn't want to be a dog trainer. I wanted to be a police protection dog trainer, and that is what I was. Wasn't easy to get there. People didn't want to work with me. This is a story for another time, but I showed up at this one canine security company and went out with him. He told me how I was going to get chewed up by his dogs. It's like, I've seen aggressive dogs before. And at the end of the night, he said, "Oh, you're my new manager." And then I had to go around and supervise a bunch of guards. And it was an interesting experience. I was a teenager. So I ended up running that company. But to get back to the story, you never know how your dog's going to perform until you get out there and see it. You know, you can have a soft dog. You know that dog's not going to be a top dog, but you put in the training. In fact, this is what I think one of my presentations is going to be about, is how you condition a dog that is suffering emotional distress, where the emotions are welling up in it and making it so it can't work very well, and how we can apply that to people. But the thing is, no matter how much I train in my little office here, or even out in the park, I'm never going to really know how I perform until I get in front of a crowd. With a crowd of 10 people, I'm sure it's going to be different than a crowd of 500 people. You look out there, I think the most I've ever talked to for a short period of time was around 200-300. And back then, I was quite young, a little bit nervous, actually a lot nervous back then. Almost had a chance to do a presentation to several thousand people at a Grand Prix event, Long Beach Grand Prix event, because the MC guy didn't show up, and they came over to me because I had a microphone, and I was doing a public access TV show, and they said, "Hey, there's nobody here to do the introduction in the event and to tell what's going on. Would you mind doing it?" It's like, well, I guess. Yeah, sure, I'll do it. And I looked out there. There were thousands of people, and it was very exciting. And then I think it's John Crochet, I think was the guy. I was on his TV show. He showed up and he did it. So I don't know if he was the one that's supposed to or not, but he was the one that ended up doing it, I believe. That was Beach 530 was his show. So there you go. We have the new speech preparation system that we're working with. And I will be going over this more and more, especially if it's effective. And you can join me on my public speaking journey and see if I actually can make it or not. I do need venues. You can't do public speaking without a public to speak to. So if there is a venue in the 714-562 area in California, get in touch with me. I want to talk to your group. So that's Long Beach, Gateway Cities, North Orange County. You know, even outside of that, I'm open to talking to you. So that's going to do it for today. I am wishing all of you the very best in life. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.